Hey there guys, welcome to this episode of Landlord Go. I wasn't planning to record this because the current trend is border crossing, and I have never been interested in this kind of trend. But if you have watched the previous episodes, you know that we have a collection of blue properties, which is airports. So this was interesting for me. And then border crossings aren't easy to find if there is no marking on the map, right? Because you don't really know exactly where a country ends. But then I found one Scottish border, which was between Scotland and England. And then I noticed something on the map. There are actually borders on the map that you can look for. So if I zoom out here, and I'm just gonna use my finger to trace a little line, so you can see that line. Can you probably see this line here? I hope you can. Sorry about that. Let me just do it one more time. So I hope you can see this line. This is actually a border, and you can see that when you zoom out a lot, and you can clearly see this border here. So I'm just going to try and do this border here. You can clearly see that there's a border there, and that's how you can easily find borders in this game. I'm just going to zoom out and rotate the map. So the last time I recorded, we were actually in the UK, which is, let me just zoom in a little bit, which is over here. And then I found a few borders in between UK and Scotland, which you can see the border is right over here. If you can, I don't know if you can see this, but you can easily see this. I mean, if you just look at here, you'll see a very grayed out line, and that's the border between UK and Scotland. And if you want to find a border crossing, I really didn't want to record this video. The only reason I'm recording is because I've actually run out of lawyer slots because I've bought so many borders. And the other reason is because I want to show you how to actually find these border crossings pretty easily. So the border here is pretty grayed out. There are other locations in which this type of border exists, which is over here. If you just look around Paris, over here there's this border, and then over here as well there's this border. I hope you can see this. It's pretty faint, it's pretty grayish, it's very difficult to see. So please, if you can't see it, please pause the video and look at where my hand is moving so you can trace this line. It's a gray line. I can't really swipe, I can only tap. The reason is because if I try to swipe, I just move the map. But I'll do it one more time. I'm just over Lyon, which is a city in France, I guess, and then there's this border. But turns out that the border over here, which is grayed out, actually was the border between Scotland and United Kingdom. But the border here, which is also grayed out, is not really a border between two countries. It's a border of cities. So in France, there's a border around Paris. You can just see this. I will just trace this very faintly here. So there's a border around Paris. But when I zoomed out of the map, I found that there is this line, which is pretty easily visible. It's like a river. You can easily see this line. I hope you can easily see this line. If you can't, you just need to pause the video and find it. So you can easily see this. I'm just below Munich now, and I'm tracing this line here. So that's a border between countries. So I found a lot of borders between France and Germany, and a lot of border crossings between France and Germany. And I'm so sure that if you if you have enough money, you can just live off of border crossings, because there's border crossings everywhere in the game, and most of those aren't bought. There were a few border crossings that I found that were bought by other players, but most of these aren't bought. I'll just go in my portfolio now. I'll show you how many I already have. So I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 border crossings, and then I decided to make the video because my lawyer slots are now full. So I'll have to actually upgrade my lawyer to be able to purchase these borders, which are between, I think it's between Germany and Italy, right? Or is it between Switzerland and Italy? Yeah, it's between Switzerland and Italy. So we can pretty much pick that border up if we wanted to. And there's this thing over here. This is the only thing that we can buy, actually. The other two we already bought. So let me just zoom out here, and also I'll show you one more thing. I mean, you found the border, but it doesn't mean that the entire border will be a border crossing. So there's a little tip here. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. So a border crossing usually appears when there is a big main road that is crossing the border. So in here, if I zoom in, because of the names, maybe you won't be able to see this, but there's this road. If you can see the tab icon, tap that I'm making right now on the screen, there's this road that crosses this border here. So let me just zoom out. There's issues with the game. So this road here, let me just tap again. This road is crossing this border here. And that road is a main road. It's a big road that goes from Switzerland to Italy, if I'm correct. And what I did was I put my agent at the intersection of those two things, the big road and the border itself. And usually you will find a border crossing there. If you don't, like I didn't find it once or twice today, but if you don't find it, you just have to move your agent to another main road and you may be able to find a border crossing. Now I'm just gonna go into my agent here, and the thing is, it's gonna take 200 coins to get to the next level, which we do have. Obviously, we have 1.25k coins, but in the next level, the problem is you only get a property that's worth 500 million. So I don't think it's worth it to spend 200 coins to acquire a property that's not worth much. Obviously, it's gonna give us a boost here, because if you go into here, we already have 19 properties. Once I get to 20 properties, I'll get a collection boost of 20%, which is pretty good. So that would be a 4% boost in revenue, and our current revenue is 682 million, but out of which, majority of the revenue comes from these blue properties. But we can safely consider it to be about 500 million from these blue properties, and then a 4% boost would be 500 into 4%, which is 20 million, I think, if I'm doing the math right. But to acquire a 20 million revenue boost, is it worth it to spend 200 coins? Absolutely not, because you don't really need these many slots. We have 10 slots already. You don't really need that many slots all the time, because the other properties that we are interested in is, for example, airports, for example, military bases. Those aren't that non-exclusive. So for now, what I've decided is I'm not gonna spend 200 coins to get one property that's worth only about 500 million. Now, if this property was in the range of 150 to 100 billion, then it would be worth it, because our portfolio is what, 220 million, something like that, 220 billion, something like that. So in that case, 50 billion is about 25% of our portfolio. And if a property like that popped up for a 30% discount, which is, it basically means it's a 10% instant profit. So in that case, I would obviously be spending the 200 coins and upgrading my lawyer so we can buy that property, because that's about 25% of our portfolio. And after upgrade, it's still going to be about 20% of our portfolio if it's a 50 billion property against the 200 billion portfolio. But that's not what the case is here. I just wanted to record this quick video to show you how to find border crossings, because I have learned a lot of things about this game after I unlocked the ability to move my agent by watching ads. I couldn't move my agent, and that was really frustrating previously, and I was stuck in the game doing the same old things again and again, looking for the same property trends like hospitals and the property trends that were appearing in Mumbai, that were beneficial in Mumbai. But other than that, I didn't really do anything. I couldn't move my agent, and I couldn't explore the world. But now that I can come up with ways in which you can find properties pretty easily, and probably this will help you to find border crossings. And obviously, you know how to find airports. If you don't, you should maybe probably go into a video that I recorded about 3 or 4 episodes previous to this one, where I bought all of these airports in my portfolio. I'll just show you. So I bought all of these airports, not all, but most of these airports in that video, and I showed you how to find airports. So I think that's all for today's video. Let me just show you my portfolio right now quickly. So we are currently doing paperwork for these properties. I bought the race courses in previous episodes, so if you haven't watched that episode, please go ahead and check that out. And then we have these many blue properties here, a few properties that we can sell anytime, like the purple ones here. They're just in the portfolio just because it was an offer, and I didn't record an episode for these because it was these are small properties, right? It's 500, 600 million, so it's not a big property now. Previously, it was a big property in our portfolio, but in the past few weeks, we have grown from 20 billion to about 200 billion, thanks to some of the top players in the game that have helped us out. They had also other players that have messaged me and guided me throughout the game. So thank you to those players. We are now in the 223 billion range, which is pretty huge. If I go into my portfolio leaderboard, we are at 42 in the country, we are at 4315 in the world, and we are at number 8 in the server. That's really great. So yeah, that's all for today's video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification icon so you don't miss a video when it's out. I'll see you next time in a new video.